Hi everyone.
This is weird. Alright, so how's everybody doing so far? We've got plenty of time, just waiting for more people to flood in. Hey everybody, I'm going to be the one leading this session. My name is Mary Kate Soule. We're going to get started here in a couple minutes. I'll just wait for the last few people to come flooding in. Hey Grace, I saw your question in the chat. This is all about funding, so you're going to learn a lot today. And a reminder to everybody that this video is recording. Do with that information as you will, but you'll be able to view it at a later time as well. All right, everybody, I think we've had enough time to let people filter in. I'll try and get to any questions in the chat. Also, Rainer Gall is my supervisor, so he'll be able to answer more than I will be. Yep, that's him. Live from my living room, let's get started, and I'll teach you about SABC, which is the Student Activity Budget Committee. My name is Mary Kate, if you can't see, and let's go ahead. All right, hopefully everybody can see what I'm showing them. I won't be able to see the chat though, so that's great. So the Student Activity Budget Committee is all about how to receive money, and that's all that I deal with is distributing funds, and I deal with funding for organizations. I have nothing to do with spending the money. That is all Rainer, and he will be able to show you that in the next video that is after mine. So an overview of the Student Activity Budget Committee and what we'll be reviewing today is who we are, what we do. You're going to learn exactly how to ask for funding using the MyEngage system and the finance tool within the MyEngage system. And then you'll learn about the different types of funding that you'll be able to receive for your organization. And we'll just talk about that and we'll have fun. So the biggest thing that you'll be able to refer back to is our SABC guidelines, which is available on the SABC's My Engage page. So what is the SABC? It is the Student Activity Budget Committee. I am the president right now, and then also my vice president is Aman, and she is also the dual role of the Student Government Association treasurer. We're usually comprised of about 5 to 9 students. Right now we have 5, possibly 6, and it's just UNTIL students who volunteered, and we just meet once a week and review the budgets. SABC is also optional funding to help support your organization. You don't have to get funds through us. You can do fundraising. You may have donations from external sources, and you also have some other options for funding. So our committee meets just once a week virtually on Friday afternoons to review the budgets. And we also have a rubric to go over the budgets so that we eliminate bias when going through these. So how to submit a budget request. I'll get more in depth into this, but this is just a quick little rundown of this. So you're going to start off with going to My Engage, and then you'll be able to then click on the tab that says Manage Your Organization, and you'll select the organization that you want to manage. Then within that, you're going to access the Finance tool, and then you'll be able to then create a budget request within that Finance tool. And then you're going to select the type of budget request as well. There are 3 different types. It's general operations, programming, and team development funding. And then you're just going to fill it out and wait, basically. So I hope you guys really like this slide because I spent way too much time on it. You'll see it again, don't worry, because I thought it was really cool. So back to the types of funding, we'll get more specific with this. It's the general operations that is up first. This is like the day-to-days operations for your organization to be able to function. Then with the programming funding, programming is usually just events that are hosted or even sometimes co-hosted by your organization or some other organization on campus, or it could even be co-hosted by like your department if it's more related to your organization, like if the accounting club is being co-hosted by the accounting department or the business department. That usually makes sense. And then last but definitely not least is team development. This usually, or it's always for obvious team building activities. We're not just going to pay for you guys to go have a happy hour at Applebee's. Not that we've had that before, but yeah, so more specifically, general operations is funding for the expenses related to the standard upkeep of your organization, like regularly occurring meetings is one of the biggest one. New this year, happy to unveil this. There's no lead time required, and I will go more in depth into that later. But for those of you who are returning, senators and club members maybe had to deal with the lead time in the past for general operations, but no longer. So if you need if you need funding in 2 weeks, you got it. So some examples of general operations funding is like reservation fees for regularly occurring meetings, office supplies, then also giveaway and promo items to advertise and recruit for your recognized student organization. And I guess I should also mention that this is all made not like with COVID in mind per se. This is sort of just more like generalized what we stop. Sorry for my dogs. Oh gosh. Oh, I should have also apologized for that. So this is just what we usually do, and then this semester is throwing everybody for a loop and we don't know exactly what's going to be going on. So each request is just going to be viewed and reviewed, and we're going to try and figure out the best solution for everybody involved. So the next category is programming. Now this is funding used for programs or events hosted or co-hosted by orgs. Usually these take place on campus unless there is a justified circumstance. Again, everything is totally different this semester. Hopefully in the spring, things can be a little bit back to normal, but we'll see. Now this does have to be submitted 4 weeks in advance of your event, and there's more detail on that either later on, and then also for sure in the SABC guidelines, which I'm always going to push you to read before you submit a budget request for any category. So some examples of this include facility or room reservation fees, some catering, which probably isn't going to be happening too often this semester, supplies that are specific to the events. If you guys are doing like a craft night, this would be like crafts for the event for your participants. And then also door prizes. The more detail on that is in the SABC guidelines. This is just an overview. For the door prizes, you have to follow the Office of Student Involvement policies and procedures. And then also sometimes some guest speaker and performer expenses. So sorry for my dogs. We just moved. They're not used to everything yet. So for team development, student orgs are able to receive funding for up to 3 activities per semester with a maximum of 5 per year. So this has to be an obvious team building or team development component. Like I said, we're not going to pay for you guys to just go out to dinner somewhere on the town if it's not even really helping your organization. This also has to be submitted 4 weeks in advance of the event or the activity. Some examples include a planning retreat or a meeting for your organization, and this can be for any of the senators only or for all members who want to go. A leadership workshop for the members as well. That's pretty common and pretty helpful for the organization. A conference attended by some of the executives of your organization. So we're gonna go ahead. Yes, the 4-week lead time. So sorry, I know. We tried to really review this and cut this down, but it was just best for us to explain to you why we really can't cut this down. We really need that 4-week lead time. So first, I just want to show you like the behind the scenes of what is going on. So you guys will submit the request, and then on Fridays, the committee meets. So if you submit it on Monday, we're still not going to see it until Friday, unfortunately. I'll review it beforehand, but I can't make any decisions on it alone. Then after that, the award letters are sent. That's usually Friday afternoon, could be Monday afternoon now. Then after that, if you guys have to purchase items for your event, so that usually happens. Now you're going to be submitting purchase requests, which are brand spanking new this semester. And then for that purchase request to go through, it has to be evaluated, and then also you have to ship stuff from maybe Amazon or something, and that can take time to ship, especially with shipping times now these days. I'm sure you guys have seen that 2-day express shipping isn't always so express. And then you have your event. You have to set up for that, and you have to prep for that. So the 4-week lead time is really necessary. And again, we tried to cut it down, but we couldn't. So I apologize, but we'll live. So what does the 4-week lead time look like? Now this is the more in-depth version. So if you guys wanted to host an event on, let's say Thursday, October 15th coming up, your request for the SABC funding will be submitted no less than 4 weeks prior to the event. So that will specifically be no later than Thursday, September 17th. And it's really easy if you just go onto your calendar, you look at the event date that you're going to be hosting your event, and then count back 4 weeks. We're not looking at anything with weekends versus business days. It's just in a direct line 4 weeks prior. So, like I said, we're going to meet every Friday. So in this scenario, we'd be meeting on September 18th in relation to submitting your budget the day before. And then we would review it at that time. So immediately following the meeting, the chair, which is me, will notify the RSO with a lovely award letter. I'm just going to email it to you, to the executives of the organization, typically the person who submitted the request, but that could include the treasurer, the vice president, and the president. It just depends on the submission. So in this scenario, it would be sent out that afternoon. Sometimes I can get around to all of them, sometimes not. If not, it'll get through on Monday. And then the organization will then immediately have access to use the approved funding starting as soon as the award letter is sent, and the funding remains available to the organization until all the funding is spent or until 2 weeks after this event. So in the scenario, funds would be available until Thursday, October 29th. So who wants to learn about MindGauge? I'm sure you all do on mute. Don't say no because I'm going to show you anyways. So we're going to go to the home of MindGauge. It's a hyperlink here and then also a cool link here. I am assuming that you can all see the MindGauge page now. Maybe Rainer, like wave if you can.
We can see it. I believe you're fine.
Cool, thanks. All right.
I can see it.
Awesome, thank you everybody. So this is MindGauge. I'm already logged in here to our lovely MindGauge site. So in order to do that, then you're going to click on this cute little cube menu up in the top right hand corner, and then you will select manage. You may not be able to see the pop-up right now, but if you are in the right role on MindGauge, then you will have the option to see manage under the Explorer. And then after that, then you'll be able to go and click on whatever membership you want to manage for. So let's just go manage some SABC right now. You won't have all these options. You're not in the same clubs as me, I don't think. But if you want to be, you can. Supply Chain Club is always taking in new peeps. And so once you get to the manage homepage of your organization, then I can see how many cool members we have. And then also, not much going on with this page. But then in the top left, this really cool menu, guys, it's called a hamburger menu. So I hope that helps you remember it. So click on that cool hamburger menu. And then I hope you can see that I will have different options of your organization tools such as roster, about, events, news, gallery, documents, forms, elections, and finance, which is what we're all here for on a Saturday. So we're going to click finance. And then you'll be able to then see this is the purchase function right here. So then you'll have to click over to the budget funding, and then you can see all my fake budget requests. You guys shouldn't have this funding option. Even if you do, just ignore it. You really never need it. So then in the top right, that blue create request button, you'll be able to click create budget request because we're all here for budgets. Don't worry about the purchase request yet. That's new this year. And a guide on how to use that will be released soon, like coming soon. So then once you get to this page, you'll then be able to select from one of those 3 categories of the general operations funds, the programming funds, or the team development funds. And so let's just go through programming because programming is always kind of the hardest. So we're going to have a cool event. And then well, it's good. It's just going to be really cool, I think. So this description box here is technically not required because you're going to have a following one question that basically tells you the same stuff. So you're going to repeat this again. I don't even know what today is. Probably the 28th, 29th. Oh gosh. Really need to get with that. and then a detailed event, cool event with no food. Sorry guys. We've never had this event before because it's really cool and it's really new. So we're gonna select no. I know I'm shaking your head. And heck yeah, I agree because you have to agree. So then you're gonna move forward with that. And then once you get to this, now this is where it's all at, really. You're just gonna be selecting add item here. Don't worry about the add programming section. You probably never need that. But this add item button is like the coolest thing. So this is where then you'll be able to input your individual line items if you have like catering expenses, or if you, yeah, we got to do some marketing stuff. We need some flyers specifically for this event. Or look, we're going to have some crafts for this event. We're going to have some cool crafts for 10 people. And we'll just say it costs $10 per person. So then we'll input the quantity, and then we're also going to input the cost. And here below this upload supporting document, highly, highly recommended, not mandatory, but it really helps us understand what you're going to be buying. Usually in this description, you can also put like your Amazon links, which will help us later on with the purchase requests as well. And then this upload supporting document is typically like screenshots of the thing that you're wanting to buy from Amazon, from the bookstore, catering if we were doing catering, kind of not right now though. So then you'll just, oh look, cool, you got your crafts right there. And then also, well, we need a room for it. Somewhere in the MSC, like 366 in our office. I don't even know how much it costs, so it costs $200. So I don't have an upload, a supporting document, so I'm not going to put one. So save it, and then you'll just be able to like review it, check it over. Do we need crafts? Do we need a room? Does that all make sense for your organization to have all that? Holy cow, the chat is blown up. So sorry. I can't even see it. So then once you're done, you submit it. And then you'll be taken to this page here, and you get to see all my weird previous requests. And then you'll be able to see that your cool event has been submitted. And I got an email about it, and that it's in process. So after that, okay, thanks, I got it. Do some full screen on this. Oh yeah, we should also probably take you to the SABC My Engage page, because it's the coolest thing ever. Really, trust me, it is. We're located in the MSC in the Office of Student Involvement. I have this minuscule office that's like probably like 10 feet by 12 feet, if even. Really cool. And gives you a little bit of information about us. We have a form. We're accepting applications for SABC members. If you want to look at all the budget requests submitted by the organizations on campus, we have our SABC appeal form. More about that in the guidelines. We don't have any events coming up, unfortunately. It's president, which is me. We have a full roster, but you probably can't. Maybe you can see that if you're logged in. I don't know. And then we have some other stuff here. The SABC guidelines. That is going to be the most help to you guys. That includes all the information in full detail. That is everything that I could ever know about SABC, and that is also everything you could ever know about it. And then if you forgot literally everything that you're here for this afternoon, because you guys are going through a lot right now, I get it, you can review this new manual that I updated or uploaded, and it's how to submit a budget request with step-by-step pictures and whatnots. And so you'll be able to click one of these little cute little download buttons on the right, because clicking on it will do nothing, but then you'll be able to download it and it's all yours. So let's go back, because I have no idea how many more slides there are. I already forgot. Oh, there's only one. Cool. Who has questions? I don't know how to open up the chat. Group chat. Nope. Okay.
Mary Kay,
Yes.
I have been watching the chat and answered a few questions, but some that might be useful for you to answer out loud. When groups are putting in their dollar amounts, would you prefer that they put the exact amount down to the cent, or should they round up?
Rainer, that is a wonderful question, and I would say put the exact amount, but I know JLP just said round up, so what do you want, Rainer?
Well, I'm not trying to steal your thunder. You're the president
Steal
of
it.
SABC, but as you all can see that I put in the chat, SABC is always going to ask that you be as accurate as possible. So we want you to be as close to the actual cost of an item as you can. But if you want to round your numbers up to the next whole dollar just to have some good full numbers, there's no problem with that. Because also something we want to keep in mind, for example, if you are requesting to order some supplies on Amazon and the item itself costs $6.99, but there's also a $2 shipping charge. We want to make sure you include that shipping charge. So you might want to request like $10 total in case the shipping cost changes between the time you submit your budget and the time we actually purchase the supplies. So rounding is okay, but don't get excessive with it.
And I see another question that was just submitted. So it says, after getting our budget request, do we need to submit the purchase request each time we need to actually buy the items that we need? So specifically, once your request has been approved, after you've submitted and it's gone through the approval process, and you have been given the amount that you were approved for, usually it's full, sometimes it's not, depends on our unbiased rubric, then you will be able to go ahead and submit the purchase request after you have been given your approved funding amount. So then you know how much you can buy, because sometimes you don't always get approved for the full amount.
I would follow up to that as well, that after you have been approved for a budget and that money is placed into your organization account, you need to submit a purchase request anytime you want our office to make a purchase on your behalf using that money. If you are buying something on your own and you would like to be reimbursed for it after the fact, you do not need to submit a purchase request. That's called a reimbursement. It is handled differently. And I will add that both of those things, our office purchasing for you or reimbursement, those will both be covered in the next hour in the budgets and bills session that I will be running.
All right, and Chris, I see you had a really good question. I'm so sorry, I'm so quiet, I'm soft-spoken. So the question was, did you say whether the budget has to be requested per semester or per year? It is actually neither. So the best way to think of SABC is that I have a big bucket. I'm holding a big bucket and it's full of all the SABC money. And if you guys want some of that money, then you will ask me, aka submitting a budget request, and then I will tell you either yes, no, or how much. And then you will be able to sort of dip your hand in the bucket and pull out that money for that specific event or general operations or team development activity. And then that is your money for just that individual event. And you can submit dozens, if not thousands, of requests for the summer. If you're going to be holding that many events, there's no limit on how much you can request right now. There's more about that in the guidelines. There are a couple of things that are more specific, but you just, if you guys need money for an event, you ask to reach your hand in the bucket, and then the bucket feeds. For team development, what do you consider as, okay. The question is, for team development, what do you consider as a retreat? Rainer, do you have some specific examples on this? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I will try to answer the question, yes, and I guess I can turn my camera back on and not be rude over here. So with team building, really what SABC is focused on is the team building component to it. So we use the word retreat sometimes, but that might mean just 4 of you meeting at a member's house. We've seen that a lot in the past where they just get together on a Saturday for a few hours, or maybe at the library or something. in the past, we also saw groups that some groups do travel off campus. They might go to like a camp for a weekend or something along those lines. With all of that, again, what we're looking for is the team building component. There has to be some sort of actual activity involved, whether that is, I see Jessica mentioning that the Student Social Work Association did an escape room in the past, and that's obviously an activity that everyone participated in, but it doesn't need to be that necessarily. It could also be just planning and organizing for the semester. So if you get together with your executive board and you're going to spend a few hours on a day planning all of your events for the semester and putting down the details and assigning tasks, there's still team development, there is planning involved there, there is obvious components versus just getting together for socializing. So if you are submitting a budget request for a team development activity, there needs to be an obvious building component of you are working as a team, you are building your organization. That is specifically listed in our rules that we will not pay for a simple team dinner if you are just going out to get to know each other. It's not that we don't support that. That is obviously important to get to know your organization and bond with each other, but SABC funding should really be used for improving the organization, adding to it. So whether that's planning for the semester or a leadership development activity or something like that, there needs to be that obvious team building component.
And usually these types of requests are reviewed on like a individual basis. We're just gonna look it over, and the committee and I, and sometimes Rainer, will weigh in on this and see how much of an advantage, or how much of an advantage this is gonna provide for the organization. Maybe advantage isn't the right word, but how much value is this gonna provide to the organization as a whole? So any more questions? I know you guys have dozens.
Mary Kate, I'm going to jump in real quick, actually, and I see that Tori has mentioned a specific example of a National Student Veteran Association conference, which reminds me there is another route for team development, and that is if you are sending members to a conference or training or something there where they would gain skills and knowledge and bring that back to your organization, that is also supported. So if you are sending one or a few members to a training or a conference, and that is going to benefit your organization, and you can explain that within your budget request how it is benefiting your organization, that is something that can be supported. Now, having said that, we do have a little bit of restrictions on conference attendance. Basically, we will pay for your registration fee. I shouldn't say we will guarantee it. We can possibly pay for your registration fee for the conference, your travel to the conference, and your lodging while you are at the conference. We will not pay for any incidentals or snacks along the way, etc. We'll pay your registration, your lodging, and your travel expenses. And following, I'm keeping an eye on the chat over here on my second screen. All that is possible, not guaranteed. That's correct. SABC funding across the board, something to remember, you are never guaranteed funding. There is no guaranteed amount for any organization. That's just a blanket thing. Now, as Mary Kate said, we're here to support organizations. We almost always say yes to budget requests. Sometimes we may reduce them a little bit, so we might only give you 80% of what you requested, but 99.9% of the time we are approving budget requests. So it is not a guarantee you're going to get money, but you are in a good place as long as you have submitted your budget request correctly.
All right, so I'll answer another question that just came in. Oh my gosh, a bunch of questions are coming in. So the first question I'll answer is somebody said that they remember there being a limited number of a certain type of budget request. Is that still in effect? Technically, for the team development, which was mentioned earlier, you're limited to 3 per semester and up to 5 for the total of the year, but there's no limit on general operations or programming. The next question is, for things like travel, how do you know how much to request? That is up to the ingenuity of you guys. Typically, you look at the flight costs ahead of time and see how much a ticket costs. people can sometimes request funding for Ubers, or they have, like if you're just driving down to a campsite a couple hours away, you can use a gas calculator online, and you can type in some information about your car and the length of the trip, and then it'll spit out a number at you and tell you how much it is. And then you can like screenshot that and include that in the supplemental information.
Like to jump in quick on that too. Gracie asking that question. That would be a spot where we want you to give it your best estimate, but obviously you can't predict the future and know exactly how much your gas is going to cost or exactly how much your airfare is going to cost. So as Mary Kate said, do some real quick research, just get an estimate of roughly how much flights look for that point or how much you think you will spend on gas. Give us that best estimate, and then we'll make our funding decision based on that.
All right, and the next question is with purchasing t-shirts, for example, how would we go about doing something like that? So t-shirts, Jessica, do you mean t-shirts for specifically your members or t-shirts for giving away? Two kind of different. Both. Okay, that works too. Okay, so for purchasing, okay, let's go with members first then. All right, so for purchasing for your members, that's usually going to fall under the general operations category. And we have a rule under t-shirts that you can request funding for t-shirts at $5.25 per shirt up to 100 shirts. Now I know that shirts are not always $5. That is just what we will provide funding for, and usually your organization will make up the difference from some sort of external funding. And then for giveaway shirts, we have a limit for giveaways for the entire semester. Rainer, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's only $250 for all of your giveaways. Yes, that is a good nod. All right. It's $250 total for giveaway items. That includes if you wanted to give away shirts, pins, water bottles, drawstring backpacks, notepads. We have a lot of those. Rainer, I think that's a you question.
I'll jump in on that one. I'm trying to read some of these questions out loud in case everyone is not watching the chat, but next question was, if you were granted a budget and the item wound up costing more than you expected, could you request reimbursement for the difference on the same item after the fact? To answer that question directly, the answer would be no. Once you have submitted your budget request and that budget is approved, it's final. SABC is not going to add any additional money to that item. So we were talking about t-shirts a minute ago. Let's say that you were approved for $200 to purchase some t-shirts for your members, but you place the order, everything goes through, and it ends up costing $250. The result of that is going to be that SABC has still given you the $200. So keep in mind, when it comes to actually spending your money, once it's in the account, you'll work with the student involvement to do that. So you'd work with me or my office. We will still pay that $200 for you, but the remaining difference of $50, you're going to be on the hook for. So that would either mean you can deposit that extra money into the account and we'll make one single payment using that, or I can pay just $200 towards your invoice and you would be responsible for paying the remaining $50 on your own.
So for the next question, it's somewhat vague. Are there certain things we can request as giveaway items, or is it a case by case? You sound like you have something in mind. What is it? So I'm curious now. Oh, a $200 backpack for one person? The committee would probably ask each other how beneficial that one backpack to the entire club would be. Oh, as a single giveaway for the entire year. Okay.
Mary Kate, I'll jump in.
Yeah.
And the reason being, there is actually some university policy that applies here. It's not as necessarily SABC making this rule. This is university level policy. Technically, yes, you can purchase a large item and have that as like a giveaway, but some things to keep in mind with that. First, any single item that has a value of $50 or more for financial records, that is considered taxable income. That's something that we as the university have to track. So if you are purchasing an item that is valued more than $50 and then giving that away as a prize, our office will have to hold that item for you, and whoever wins the prize has to come to our office to retrieve it, and they have to fill out some paperwork that we have to file with the IRS. Because again, for a prize that is a larger value like that, it is considered taxable, so we have to report that. Now, to be completely blunt, if someone gets that single prize for the year, I doubt the IRS is going to come tracking that down. You probably don't need to worry about it on your end, but we as the university are still required to file that paperwork. So a prize of that size, yes, you could do it, but there would be additional paperwork involved with it. And I had another point to make with that, and it has left my mind. So let me think for a second and see if it comes back. Oh, it did come back. A related policy to keep in mind is in the state of Missouri, there are very strict rules about gambling and games of chance, and that applies to raffles. So technically, according to state law in Missouri, it is illegal for you as a student organization to conduct a raffle where someone would buy tickets for a chance at winning something. The only way we have been allowed to do prizes in the past is there is an exception for games of skill. So if you have a competition of some sort where people participate and there is a winner of the competition in that way, there can be a prize for that. Otherwise, the only other option is a door prize where there is no requirement for entry. It is just a random draw for everyone that is in attendance at that event. So again, to answer the question, could you do a giveaway like that? Yes, but you would need to coordinate with me and the Office of Student Involvement to make sure that you're complying with the right policies on that. And follow up there, do giveaway requests work the same as a regular budget request? I'll pivot back to Mary Kate to answer that.
Okay, so the question is, as a single giveaway for the entire year, I feel like I'm skipping something. Yeah, no. As a single giveaway for the entire year, because we don't normally do giveaways, and do giveaway requests work the same as a regular budget request? If the giveaway is at a certain event, that usually is going to fall under that programming request for that event. But I feel like I'm going down the wrong path here, Rainer.
I'll try to get you steered back. The answer is yes, it would work the same as another budget request. There is not a separate or special form for giveaway items. What Mary Kate was saying, if your giveaway item is associated with a specific standalone event, then you would need to include it under your supplies for that event, and you would submit a programming request, and it'd be under your programming supplies. If it is instead just a kind of generic giveaway that you're going to give at some point during the year, and it's not associated with a specific event on a specific day, that would fall under your general operations for the request, because it's operational costs for the year. And in fact, when you go into the general operations budget form, I believe there is a specific line for giveaway items where you could list that item.
Yeah. And that typically is used, like the general operations category is typically used when people are doing tabling events and they're giving away a bunch of pens or cups or something like that, instead of a individual door prize at a specific event. So we're kind of running close in our time. So any more questions?
While we're giving people a chance to ask some questions, a real quick request for you all. I am going to put a link to a Google form in the chat. We would like all of you to go click on that link and go to the form. As mentioned this morning, this is how we're tracking attendance to make sure that you are in attendance for the whole day. So it's a very easy form, just asking what's your name, what org are you representing, and we'll take it from there.
Rainer, your favorite question, could you request software as a general operations request?
All right, we'll try to hit these questions. Could you request software as a general operations? Technically, yes, but again, we run into a university policy, which is that any computing equipment or software, whether it's physical equipment or just a software package, that requires approval from the IT department before we can make that purchase. So yes, you could do that, but you would have to coordinate with me to get that separate IT approval before we can purchase that software for you.
Awesome. Next question for the member t-shirts. Do we request the full $525 or do we order our X amount of t-shirts and request that money? It is, yeah, for the 100 t-shirts, thank you. You will request X amount of t-shirts. If you're only buying 25, it's just 25 times, and even if your t-shirts cost $10, you're still going to request $525 for those X amount of t-shirts. Other last minute questions. And if all of your questions have gone unanswered, please email me at sabc@unsystem.edu and I will answer them as rapidly as I can. And then I can also schedule a Zoom meeting with you guys if you'd like, because it's a lot and I understand that. So, Rainer, we ready to close it down? Can you put that email? Yep, I did. Oh, I sent it just to Rainer. I'm so sorry. There we go. I'm going to yes, that would usually fall under that form for the general operations if you're buying it just for like your members, or if you're just going to give them away randomly, not at an event, that would be at a general operations form. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down. I'm going to show you my poor dog wearing a mask. This is my poor dog Stella wearing a mask that is not small enough for her head. So remember to wear your mask on campus, social distance, and stay safe. So I appreciate everybody taking your time out of your wonderful Saturdays. Yes, Chris, you can try to meet with either of us. Oh, well, Rainer's kind of occupied.
I'll share. Most of them heard it this morning. I mentioned briefly, but while yes, I am very willing, both of us are willing to meet with you over Zoom or email and answer questions. Please be aware I will not be available for the next week. I am currently out on paternity leave, actually. My first son was born 2 weeks ago, so I'm home taking care of my family, but I will be back to work full time on September 8th in just over a week.
But I'm available now, so. And I answer all the questions about receiving funding and not spending. So, Rainer, we ready to shut it down? Stop some share?
I think we're ready.
All right, we're ready.
All in the next hour.
See you guys later. Wow, they all left really fast.
Hey, Mary, I have a question.
Yeah,
so if we were going to do both, would that still follow under general operations? Sorry, I wasn't typing that fast.
Oh, no, that's okay. So both as in like some t-shirts for your members for the event?
Yeah, like,
or?
well, the members for our members, yes. And then like if we wanted to like raffle, like not like paying to raffle them off, but like for like attendance, if someone like were to come to like a member meeting and then we do like a little raffle, you put your name in the box and we pull it as like a gift giveaway, would that still count as under general operations, or would that be a different form that we would have to fill out?
Rainer, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Sorry.
So keep in mind when you're asking SABC, you wouldn't need to fill out anything different. That would just be a giveaway item on the budget request.
Okay.
For the university policy side, that's where I talked about. SABC doesn't govern that. The way you described it would be fine. There wouldn't be any additional paperwork. If you do it as a random drawing or a door prize, just like you said, everyone writes their name on a ticket at the door and it's a random draw, that usually is fine. That doesn't get into the gambling issue.
Okay, and so if it's just at that one event, yeah, it's going to be a programming request.
Okay, so like what Tony, I think it was, that said, Tori? If we wanted to order, or I don't remember.
That's okay.
But if you wanted to order them in bulk, like 100 t-shirts or something like that, t-shirts or something.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Glad you guys could show up.
Congrats on parenthood.
All right, good job, Mary Kate. I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting.
Neat. See ya.